It's intensely personal. It's getting more personal. They're going to discover more information that's going to make them angry. They're out to salvage their reputation. So there's not going to be an easy way to walk away from this and say, okay, let's just call it a day.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have just been exposed after their legal battle completely unraveled. Fake witnesses, bribery attempts, and shady legal tactics. Nothing is hidden anymore.
Juries don't like liars. Trials are about credibility.
Judge Lyman saw right through their Hollywood manipulation, and now their entire case is falling apart faster than Blake's credibility.
She wants different rules for her than she wants for Baldoni and his team, which I don't think the judge will agree with.
Blake Lively really thought she could stroll into court, throw around some fancy legal terms, shed a few fake tears, and walk out victorious. Yeah, that plan backfired so hard she might as well retire and open a bakery because her career is burnt to a crisp. Judge Lyman, who clearly has the patience of a saint for putting up with all this nonsense, finally had enough and called her lawsuit exactly what it is, a PR circus.
So her testimony is super important in this case. And if you can show the jury that she's lied, juries don't like liars.
It wasn't a real case or a serious legal battle. It was a straight-up media stunt designed to manipulate public perception. And guess what? The only person getting manipulated here is Blake herself, because this whole thing has blown up in her face like an overinflated balloon.
Well, actually, what I said last time is, of the 92-8 split, which is 92% of cases settled and 8 don't, this does meet criteria of being within that 8% because it's intensely personal.
But hold on, it gets better. Just when you thought this case couldn't get any more absurd, a leaked-era manual audio recording surfaced. And let me tell you, it's the kind of smoking gun that lawyers dream about. This isn't just a random piece of evidence. This is Hollywood's dirty little secret being blasted on full volume.
And, so I think there could be some argument about whether it was leaked and shouldn't have been leaked and should they have the information or what it may be. But no matter what happens, this is a damning quote.
Emanuel, one of the most powerful agents in the industry, basically admitted that Justin Baldoni was blacklisted from projects, not because he was guilty of anything, but because of his friendships with the wrong people. And by wrong people, we mean Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, the same power couple who thought they could run Hollywood like their own personal playground.
This dispute, these words that were said by Lively's side had a clear, immediate negative impact on Baldoni's career.
Now let's break this down for a second. WME, Baldoni's former agency, completely cut ties with him after Lively threw her allegations into the public eye. Not because there was actual proof against him, but because Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively had the right connections to pull some strings behind the scenes.
But what I think we're seeing now with this quote is WME absolutely got rid of him because of these things that were said. And so now he's got a clear line to get damage support.
And now, thanks to this leaked audio, it's no longer just speculation. It's a fact. Judge Lyman has actual hard evidence that Blake's side was manipulating the industry to destroy Baldoni's career. You know what that means. Her entire case is built on lies. The judge sees it, the lawyers see it, and at this point, even her own PR team is probably looking for the nearest exit.
I think this is inching towards that percentage of lawsuits that don't settle. We could very well see a trial in this case.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any shadier, the Freakonomics podcast episode that contained the Emanuel audio mysteriously disappeared. Now, I don't know about you, but when the one episode that could expose Hollywood corruption suddenly vanishes into thin air, it raises a few questions, like how much power do these people actually have?
If you have somebody who has a significant amount of power in the industry and has the ability to tell stars not to go on your podcast in the future and has general ability to make life uncomfortable for you and ask for a favor, you're more inclined to do it, right?
If they can make an entire podcast episode disappear, what else have they been covering up? But here's the thing. This time, they failed. The audio is out, the damage is done, and Baldoni now has a clear legal pathway to damages. This isn't just a PR problem for Lively anymore. This is an actual defamation lawsuit waiting to bury her.
So yes, does he have the power to do it? Yes. And I think a lot of people who are even a lot less powerful than Ari Emanuel would have the power to do that. So that doesn't surprise me at all.
But let's talk about the real talent Blake Lively has displayed throughout this entire ordeal. Her Oscar-worthy performance in lying and manipulating the legal system. Seriously, if the Academy handed out awards for Best Actress in a fake lawsuit, she'd be sweeping every category. This woman has rewritten her own story more times than a high school student faking a last-minute essay.
Oh, just from a PR standpoint, if they both struck an agreement and walked away, that would be the smartest. Because it's not going to get it was never going to get any better from Lively after when she filed that California Civil Rights Division pre-complaint, right?
Her original complaint was already ridiculous, but then she magically remembered new details and suddenly needed 180 pages to explain them. Let's put this into perspective. Most lawsuits of this type are around 20 to 25 pages long. But no, Blake decided to turn hers into a Lord of the Rings novel because she clearly thought if she piled enough nonsense into it, no one would bother to read it closely.
Okay, so I was able to read the amended complaint, which, by the way, it's very abnormal. It's almost 180 pages, 400 and some odd paragraphs. Complaints are not normally that long, but this one has to be for public consumption.
But people did read it, and guess what? It's one of the most blatant PR-driven lawsuits in Hollywood history. Legal analysts immediately tore it apart, pointing out that the majority of it isn't even about legal claims. It's just media manipulation disguised as a legal document. And if you need 180 pages to convince people that something happened, chances are nothing actually happened.
So it kind of makes them look like they're trying to take that video, now that it's out, and kind of spin it in a different direction.
And no, let's not forget her most humiliating screw-up yet. She swore up and down that she had a video of a horrifying, disturbing scene that proved Baldoni was guilty of something. She hyped it up, made it sound like the smoking gun that would end his career. Then the full video leaked, and guess what? It showed her smiling, participating, and completely comfortable.
And that's why you think, like you mentioned before, that you think this video is the most damning evidence that Baldoni has so far.
I think so. And it's better than words.
Let me say that again for the people in the back. The main piece of evidence she built her entire case around turned out to be the complete opposite of what she claimed. She flat out lied, and when she got caught, she didn't own up to it. She changed her story again.
It seems insurmountable. It seems like this case cannot be settled.
Suddenly, her new excuse was that Baldoni wasn't in character and that she was being forced to act like she liked him. Hello. You're an actress. That's literally your job.
Really what they did is they said, well, yes, all of that happened, but when Baldoni was in that scene dancing, he wasn't in character, and she was being forced to act as though she loved him, which is, in my mind, just acting.
What's next? Is Leonardo DiCaprio going to sue because he had to pretend to be in love with someone in Titanic? The absurdity of this argument is mind-blowing. She went from, "This scene traumatized me," to, "Oh wait, actually, I was just forced to act." Well, Blake, you weren't exactly forced to act well, that's for sure.
Blake Lively had changed some stuff up in her amended complaint. Now she is describing that dancing scene very differently than she did in her first complaint.
Now she's describing that dancing scene very differently than she did in her first complaint. But here's where things get really interesting. Legal experts have pointed out that if a single lie is found in her testimony, the jury can throw out her entire statement. And guess what? She's been caught lying multiple times, meaning when this finally goes to trial, her credibility is already dead on arrival. She thought she could play the victim card, rewrite history, and manipulate public perception, but instead, she just torched her own case.
Her testimony won't even count. And that is that's a harsh reality, because if the jury chooses not to listen to anything she has to say, she's the best witness in this case.
And instead of realizing that her lawsuit is nothing but a sinking ship, what does she do? She doubles down. Every time she gets exposed, she comes up with another ridiculous excuse, making her entire case look even more pathetic than before. It's like watching someone dig a hole, realize they're stuck, and instead of stopping, they just keep digging faster.
I think this is like one of those cases that has enough of the bad feelings on both sides that it could potentially show up in a trial.
And let's be real, Ryan Reynolds must be absolutely horrified watching this disaster unfold. The man built an entire career on being Hollywood's funny, likable guy, and now he's linked to one of the most humiliating legal screw-ups in recent history. They thought they could use their power, their connections, and their influence to control the narrative and bury the truth.
That shifted the narrative, and she could have walked away and probably had a PR victory just off that document. Now, I think with the lawsuit going and both sides firing guns at each other, I think it's not going to get any better for either of them.
But this time, they failed, and everyone sees right through it. Blake Lively really thought she could finesse her way out of this disaster by throwing some money around. Classic celebrity move. When your lies don't work, just start writing checks and hope the problem disappears. But the thing is, judges don't play that game, and Lively just learned it the hard way. Her desperation mode went into overdrive when her team secretly pushed for an attorney's eyes only AEO protection order.
So they're trying to skew it kind of a different way.
Now, for those who don't speak legalese, this basically means she wanted to hide critical evidence from everyone except the lawyers. No one else, not even Justin Baldoni or the judge, would be allowed to see these documents. Now, why would someone do that? There's only one logical explanation. She's hiding something so incriminating, so career-ending, that she's willing to bend the law itself to keep it buried.
Because jurors are very bright, especially collectively. When they're all together, they all come from varied backgrounds. They're the smartest people in the room collectively, and they generally get the right result.
Because it's intensely personal. It's getting more personal. They're going to discover more information that's going to make them angry.